Was this just a friendly hug caught on a Coldplay kiss cam, or the start of a scandal that would explode across the internet? Back in July, during a Massachusetts concert, a CEO and his company's HR executive were caught embracing on the Jumbotron, instantly sparking whispers of a secret affair. Fans couldn't help but speculate, and social media went into overdrive. The moment seemed innocent at first glance, but the reactions that followed suggested something far more dramatic. Little did anyone know, the story was about to take a bizarre twist that no one expected, challenging everything people thought they knew about that viral moment. The hug itself was simple. Andy Byron, then CEO of Astronomer, with his arms around Kristin Cabot, the company's HR executive. But the timing couldn't have been more explosive. The kiss cam at Coldplay's July 13th concert zoomed in on them. In an instant, millions of eyes were glued to the screen. Chris Martin, the band's frontman, couldn't resist commenting live. Either they are having an affair or they are just very shy. That brief, awkward moment was enough to ignite a wildfire of speculation. Videos of the hug spread across social media. Gifs were made, and suddenly, the two executives found themselves at the center of a viral scandal they hadn't asked for. Fans debated endlessly. Was it an innocent gesture between colleagues, or something far more controversial? The internet wasn't ready to let it go, and the story only got bigger from there. The moment on the Jumbotron triggered consequences that neither Andy, Byron, nor Kristin Cabot could have anticipated. Almost immediately, both were placed on leave, as astronomers scrambled to respond to the growing storm. The company released a statement emphasizing its commitment to leadership, accountability, and the values that had guided it since its founding, but the damage had already been done. Social media wasn't just watching, it was judging. Headlines labeled the executives as disgraced, and whispers of misconduct spread like wildfire. Within days, both Byron and Cabot resigned, their professional reputations hanging in the balance. What started as a fleeting hug had become a career-defining crisis, fueled by speculation, viral videos, and the relentless pressure of public scrutiny. But as the dust settled, the truth behind the scandal was far more complicated than anyone realized. Behind the viral chaos, the real story was far less salacious than the public imagined. Sources close to Kristin Cabot insist there was no affair, no secret romance, just a professional friendship that had been blown out of proportion. Cabot, they say, was inappropriately mislabeled as a homewrecker, a term that couldn't have been further from the truth. The hug may have been ill-timed and awkward, but it didn't signal betrayal or deceit. In fact, those who know the pair describe their relationship as one built on respect and collaboration, not scandal. The public frenzy turned a simple, human moment into a headline-grabbing catastrophe, highlighting just how quickly assumptions can spiral into damaging narratives. But while the rumors raged, the human side of the story remained largely unseen, and that's where the real impact began to show. The personal lives of both executives added layers of complexity to the story, and yet, much of it was misunderstood. Kristin Cabot was already navigating a divorce from her husband, Andrew Cabot, at the time of the concert, meaning no marriage was broken by that brief hug on the Jumbotron. Andy Byron, meanwhile, was married, but sources insist that Kristin had nothing to do with the status of his relationship. What had seemed like a scandalous entanglement was, in reality, a misinterpretation of ordinary human interaction caught in the wrong spotlight. Behind the headlines and social media frenzy were real people facing real consequences. For Cabot, leaving her home and dealing with the fallout was emotionally taxing, forcing her to focus on her family and personal healing while the world continued to speculate on what had actually happened. It was a stark reminder that public perception can be far removed from reality, and that sometimes a single moment can be blown completely out of proportion. The public reaction was relentless, and for Kristin Cabot, it quickly became overwhelming. In just the first 3 days after the hug went viral, she reportedly received around 900 death threats on her phone. Social media users, fueled by speculation and outrage, turned a fleeting moment into a personal attack, dragging her reputation through the mud. The The source close to Cabot described the experience as unfathomable, emphasizing how devastating it was not only for her, but for entire families caught in a crossfire. What had started as a viral kiss cam clip transformed into a storm of harassment and judgment. The frenzy exposed the darker side of public fascination, showing how quickly curiosity can turn into cruelty and how a private misstep, or even just a misunderstood gesture, can spiral into a life-altering ordeal. But while the backlash was intense, the story wasn't over yet. After the storm of public scrutiny, Kristin Cabot has tried to rebuild her life, focusing on her family and putting the past behind her. The incident, though brief and misinterpreted, left a lasting mark on her personal and professional life. Friends and sources say she has been working quietly to move forward, finding strength in her loved ones while reflecting on how a single moment can escalate far beyond anyone's control. The saga also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of jumping to conclusions, especially in the age of viral content and social media outrage. What seemed like a small, human gesture, a hug between colleagues, turned into a public spectacle, a reminder that the court of public opinion can often be harsher than reality itself. And while the world watched, the true story of respect, friendship, and misinterpretation quietly unfolded behind the headlines. In the end, the Coldplay Kiss Cam incident reminds us just how easily a single moment can spiral into a life-changing controversy. What the public saw as scandal was, in reality, a misinterpreted hug between colleagues caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The viral frenzy, the resignations, and the backlash show how quickly assumptions can turn into judgment and how devastating the consequences can be for real people and their families. It's a stark lesson in perspective, empathy, and the power of social media to amplify the smallest missteps. So next time a headline grabs your attention, it's worth asking, is the story really as dramatic as it seems, or are we witnessing the fallout of a single human moment blown completely out of proportion?